Welcome back to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really pretty Southwest and/or Mexican and/or Aztec type of themed quilt. Make a nice throw for a recliner or your back of your couch, or even to hang on the wall. So I have this striped fabric which is running lengthwise, as you can see the selvage here, and then I have this directional fabric of these pots that is running the other direction. So I want my pots to be up and down as you would normally see one in a photo, or sitting on the floor or whatever. You want your pots to be right side up. But I have 1 yard of each one of these fabrics. They do all coordinate very well, so I want to stay within this without adding anything to it. So this could essentially be called a 4-yard quilt. So it's going to be super easy. We're just going to grab some measurements to cut this fabric into strips, length of fabric. And we're going to do length of fabric also on these. Although this is not directional, neither one of these are directional, but why not run them directional if I have to cut a 36-inch width strip anyway. So we will have some left over for borders out of these two, and this will be the only fabric that I'll be cutting width of fabric, and for the reason I noted that it is directional. So I will have to cut 9 inches off of my strips that I cut from this fabric. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut my strips of this to get that one out of the way. This is going to be a 36-inch wide midsection of the quilt before we add the borders. So I'm going to vary some of the widths here. I'm going to have 3 different widths. I'm going to have a 9-inch, a 6-inch, and a 4-inch out of this fabric, and that will leave me with about half a yard left over. So we'll see how I might incorporate that into the finishing of it or not. So first things first, cut this into a 9-inch, a 6-inch, and a 4-inch, 1 each. Alright, so there's our 9, our 6, and our 4. I'm just going to lay these aside for the moment. Next is our lengthwise fabric that we're going to use. Remember, everything else will be lengthwise from here on out. And this does have a repeat to it. Actually, I'm looking at it, and does it have a repeat? Yes, it does. It has a very wide repeat. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off my selvage down here, and we'll just start on this end. Again, we need a 9, a 6, and a 4. I could fold this in half and cut it, but I don't want to mess up my design, so I'm just going to cut on the lines that are right there for me. So I can't use that roller. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the 22-inch line. That's going to be right here on that line. So I'm just going to follow the line of the design. How easy is that? And then I need a 6-inch and a 4-inch. So let's just do it again. 6 inches takes me to right about there. I'm going to use this marker this time. Where did I say? 6 inches. Yeah, right about there. There's my 6-inch. I'll set this one aside, and now I will cut a 4-inch. There's our 4-inch. So I'll just set this aside. This can be used for my binding. That will be pretty. And then I have my 2 pieces here. I thought that this, another reason I wanted to go ahead and cut this on the lengthwise is I kind of felt that it did have a little bit of a lengthwise pattern to it. Now when we go to do our borders, we're gonna see it perpendicular to that, but I don't think it's enough of a pattern to really matter for that. So out of these, we're cutting equal parts. We're gonna cut 2 strips that are 5-inch and 2 strips that are 3-inch. So if you feel okay doing that, layer them on top, and we will just go this way with it and cut them all at the same time. I'm going to match up my fold lines. I'm going to trim off the selvages and then go from there. This one actually, do I feel okay about cutting 8 layers? I think I will. So let's just cut the selvages off. Looks like they're going all the way up there. Looks like they gave me extra fabric on these. Okay, so I cut all of the selvages. Yes, I did. And then now I'm going to cut. I need 2 5-inches and 2 3-inches. So let's see. There's our 2 5s and 2 3s is up next. And then we'll have all this extra yardage left over for our borders over here. And it will be plenty. Okay, well, I have a little thing that just does not want to cut. Okay, so there's our 5s, our 2 5s in turquoise and brown, our 2 3s in turquoise and brown. We have our 3 stripes and our 3 different sizes of the print. So now what we're going to do is arrange these up in a way that looks like it would make sense. So I'm going to do that on the design board right now. Alright, here are my strips arranged. I've just kind of scattered them whatever made sense with all the different widths and prints and solids. It's, you know, there's no rule. So just arrange them in a way that you want to arrange them. These 4 down here at the bottom, I don't have enough board to show you, but I'm just going to label these and get them in order in a stack and take them to my sewing machine and just sew long seams, 1/4-inch seams all the way down. I do need to trim up to 36 inches on all of these. So if you haven't done that yet, be sure and do that. And then these should just go together perfectly. Alright, here we are with our quilt top all sewn together. Just simple 1/4-inch seams all the way down. And this is how it looks. I trimmed it and squared it up some. It ended up being about 35.5 after I did that. So I'll give you new measurements on the borders. If I don't think I've given you border measurements yet. So it's about 60. It is, let's see, not about. It's 63 inches long. So I'm not going to do the just regular old same borders on all 4 sides. I'm going to do a 1.5 inch unfinished border all the way around in the turquoise. So I'm getting ready to cut that here. That will go all the way around. But in the brown, I'm going to do a 5-inch border unfinished just on the long sides. So I'm going to cut those out, sew them on, and then we'll take another look. Okay, so I've cut my strips. The turquoise, you need 6 of those, 1.5 inches wide. And remember, we're cutting length of fabric. So that's 1 yard. So you'll have 2 strips for the top and bottom, and then you'll have to join 2 strips for each side. So you'll have the remaining 4 for the two sides. So one top and bottom, and then join 2 sets of 2 and put those on the side. And then once that's finished, you'll have your 5-inch strips for the sides only, and you'll need 2 for each side. So you'll just join those together and then apply them to the sides of your quilt. And that little piece right here, that's all I have left of that. And as you can see under here, I have about a 9-inch strip left. So just remember to cut on your length of fabric on those, and we'll get those up on our quilt. Alright, you see that I have my thin turquoise border all the way around, the 1.5 inch, and then I put my 2 side borders on, and it's finished. It didn't take very long at all, probably just maybe 2.5 hours altogether. Of course, it's not a quilt yet, it's just a quilt top, but you can kind of see how it turned out. I will go outside and get you some better pictures of the whole thing. Before we get to those final pictures of the quilt, I wanted to show you some other options you might try from your stash. If you have some fabrics like these, or just to get some ideas of which way to go, just remember to use 2 blenders or 2 low volume fabrics. Like these are, I think they're Ruby Star. I don't remember the name of them, but it is meant to be a blender. And then I have these other 2 fabrics that are similar but in different colors. So that would be an option for a quilt like this. And then another direction would be to go bright and bold. And even with the blenders, they're a little bit on the bright and bold side. And then these 2 feature fabrics would all look very nice together in a quilt like this. Or if you want to go a little more modern and funky, I've got a couple of grunges up here, a regular one that has some of the colors of these feature fabrics, and then I have a dot one, polka dot one. So those coordinate well together. And with fabrics like these right here, these 2 feature fabrics right here, it's kind of hard to know what to do with them sometimes when you get them. You know they look really good together, but what do you do with it? So I think it's best to just kind of tone it down a little bit with your 2 blenders instead of just 1. So that's what I've done with the quilt here, and now we'll get to those full-length pictures for you.
All I